that have worked with the Exion have collected data, because BTL has always been committed to not just bringing a device to market, but bringing a device to market with multiple studies to support the indications that we have approved. So we're going to do this more as a conversation. So we do have set presentations, but what we'll do is we'll kind of get everybody to interject their insights and pearls, and we'll also end up having a panel discussion at the end where if there's some questions from the audience, we'll be able to give you our expert opinion in that area. So we're going to start with Dr. Sherina from Buckinghamshire. And instead of me introducing Dr. Sherina, I thought I would just give you some insights from her patients, looking at patient reviews and things that her patients have said about her, saying that she's absolutely fabulous, warm, genuine, every part of treatment is explained for me, and above all, the results are great. How fabulous is that? Dr. Sherina.
Thank you very much, Dr. McCoy. Well, that was a lovely, warm introduction to all of this. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Goodness me, what a lineup we have today. I feel extremely honored, and I feel immense excitement to be here at the global launch of BTL's brand new revolutionary Exion. So, where are we today? I truly feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants in our industry, as you've all seen. And I want to take you through a little bit of a journey, a bit of an introduction to me, how I've come to be here today, how the legacy of the technologies have come to be here, before we take a deep dive into each and every one of these fabulous four handpieces that make the platform that is Exion. So a little bit about me. I've been a doctor for 25 years. The first half of my career was in reconstructive plastic surgery and burns. So I've always believed in the restoration of the function of the skin and the form of the skin, as well as the aesthetic outcome. And that's really critical as we discuss everything that is unique and data-driven, evidence-backed, that is Exion. The last 12 years has been in the field of regenerative and aesthetic medicine. So I don't operate anymore, but I still do have that mantra to restore the form and function of the skin to deliver the aesthetic result for the patient. So it's really exciting to be here today, 30 years from when I left Malaysia, that's where I was born, to follow the roots of where BTL have come, 30 years on, to be here today to launch this fabulous new device. And that is what I call legacy. This is nothing new. It's been in the pipeline since its inception for many years ago. So you have a stellar lineup today of fabulous doctors with immense amount of experience. And I think that is crucial for you to be able to have your questions answered at the panel discussion later today. So it's interesting, when I started out my journey, I specialize in Buckinghamshire, west of London, in all things regenerative and aesthetics now, for the skin, the face, the scalp, and the body. When I first started off my practice, as many of you may also do, it lies in injectables and topicals, high-tech facials, some of the energy-based devices as well, for multiple reasons, which are maybe personal to you, and that is your purpose. For me, it was results. So when I started embarking on things that patients were asking of me, they then started asking for more. The more they got results, the more they got confident, the more they had trust in you, the more they had faith, and they want to know more. So that's when I merged into the body sculpting side of what I do. And yes, there is a booming body market out there, but this is what our patients want. But more importantly, you used that word, Dr. McCoy. You said, let's have some conversations. So I really want you to think, as practitioners, as estheticians, as clinic owners, it doesn't matter. We need to deliver great consultations, but we need to take it a little bit further nowadays, because our patients are more educated, they're more informed. So we need to have more deeper, meaningful conversations with them about what we are able to deliver and do for them. So when I embarked into the body sculpting side of what I do, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to bring in the best, because I want the best for me. My clinic is driven for me. Results that I can feel, see, track, measure, and celebrate. So when I first heard about the original BTL platform called mSculpt in 2018, and this is something that's so result-backed with CT, MRI, histology, tissue biopsies. It doesn't get better than that. So when I invested in this sculpture, in this treatment to body sculpt my patients, it worked. So I continue to invest year after year from mSculpt to then the synchronized platform, mSculpt Neo, and that delivered fantastic results that our patients can feel. And then came along mCella, and I took it a step further down, and that really developed the musculoskeletal physiological benefits to my patients. 40 to 60% improvement in their genuine stress incontinence. That is life transforming to a female patient. And they loved it, so they asked for more. And finally it came up to the face, and that was M-Face. And we had high intensity focused electrical stimulation to target the muscles of facial expression. We could lift our patients, we could sculpt them further. And that has been a tremendous success for well over a year, as I'm sure you will all agree. But why have I decided to then reinvest again in Exion? Why did I do this? Again, it's experience. 30 years of legacy, a little bit of trial and error along the way. But this goes what I call beyond aesthetics. BTL are not a new company. They've been around for a long time, specializing in treatments and technologies to work with the health of our patients, to improve their health span so they can lead strong, comfortable, peaceful, confident lives. And that is really integral to what I want to deliver to my patients. So there is a medical arm to BTL, cardiology, pulmonary, and then there's also lymphatic drainage, and then finally coming into the field of aesthetic medicine with the BTL Exilis, and then moving very, very quickly on to mSculpt Neo, mCella, mFace, Submentum being released right now, and now the brand new Exion. So for me, once again, it was, I believe in the principles of foundation, contour, and refinement. We need to have good foundations, we need to have strong walls, and then we need to refine the skin. When you get high performance functioning skin, what do? You get tissue that is going to simulate collagen, elastin, and then finally, for the very first time, rebuild your own autologous hyaluronic acid. We have never seen technology integrate AI. Dr. Alas is going to give us a deep dive into how that works. We need to know the detail so that we can describe that to our patients. And when they have a better understanding as to how these technologies are unique, then it's not just us that are going to invest, it's going to be them that's going to do that too. So with that in mind, I thought about what I'm going to bring. And again, I just want results that my patients can see, feel, track, measure, and celebrate, and to deliver not just necessarily what they want, but what I feel they actually need. So I will talk about a very hyper-personalized approach to what we do, and taking it away from just treating packages, individual areas, really consulting the patient as a whole, very important. And where Exion fits in very nicely is with all these treatments that we do, from my topicals, my injectable practice, my other EBDs, which I have a few, and really what I want to do is invest in the best technologies to sit right there. So whether it's patients needing or wanting or looking potentially for surgery, they might not even be there quite ready quite then and there. So I can bring in technologies in there to really stimulate the quality of their skin, rebuild their hyaluronic acid from within. And I'm going to share with you what the BTL Exion's new face applicator can do, because it's doing exactly that with refined technology. I can show them how I'm able to improve the quality of their skin before they go on to surgery, and so that their surgeons can deliver a better outcome for them. And then most importantly, I don't want any of my devices to go into the sideline. So what I've done is I've replaced a few of my technologies, like individual units, where I used to do feminine wellness procedures, and where I used to do isolated body sculpting, where I used to do isolated skin tightening. And what I can do is refine my practice as I've evolved now 5 years to diminishing devices that may not be bringing me the best ROI, and I can move them aside and actually invest in one platform that can deliver all of that, 23 different indications from literally top to toe. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you shortly as well. So with Exion, I literally can do all of these in one single platform, and we're here to be sharing that with you today. So from the face applicator, where we're going to be autologously renewing not just your collagen, but also high levels of elastin production, as well as the body's own ability to regenerate hyaluronic acid on your own, not synthetically, but really unlocking the body's potential. with RF microneedling using revolutionary AI technology. We're releasing the skin and the face, and I'm really excited because you have one and only Dr. Duncan, who's going to share with you years of experience and expertise with such platforms. And then going down to the body applicator, where we can not only tighten the skin, but we can now refine what mSculpt Neo has given us by treating localized, stubborn areas of fat. So we're taking our results again to a whole new level. And then I'm going to finish off with taking literally a deep dive under and finishing off with female wellness. Because many of our patients are troubled with symptomatic symptoms of stress incontinence as well as with skin laxity down below, which is causing them a lot of not just discomfort, but a lot of self-conscious issues. So this is what it's all about. There is so much that we can share with you today. I'm going to hand over very, very shortly because this is what I call beyond aesthetics, giving patients what they want, necessarily not what they need. This is something that is suitable for all patients, all skin types, all demographics, because as you and I know, or maybe not know, radiofrequency is what I call colorblind. So we can refine these technologies even further to really treat every patient, male and female. Our patients just don't know what we're capable of. And these treatments are beautiful because they're pain-free or they're pain-managed, as well as they're scar-free. So our patients don't have that recovery time no more. We can shorten our treatment times. We can shorten their recovery times. We can see more patients. We can delegate these treatments to the rest of our team. And that makes it crucial for me as a practitioner as I'm evolving along my journey as well. So I am 100% excited. I'm 100% pumped to be in this stellar lineup today. And I'm also very 100 pumped because all of us have invested in Exion over the last few months. We have tried it, we have seen the data, and we're really excited to be sharing it with you today. I'd like to hand over to Dr. Yael Halas.
So as far as what Dr. Halas's patients, and Dr. Halas is from the Big Apple, plastic surgeon from New York City, and her patients have said that Dr. Halas is amazing and is an artist. My results are always natural. She's kind and caring and compassionate, as is her staff. How cool is that? Beautiful.
Thank you. Very sweet that you found this one. Great. Can I have that? Okay, so as JD explained, I am from the Big Apple. I'm from Manhattan, and I'm here for the same reason that all of you are here. We really have a drive to master our craft, to continuously improve our expertise, and we can really only do that by sharing and understanding science. It's a combination of science and beauty that really is going to give us the most natural results, the best results that we want to have for our patients, and that they themselves are seeking. And I'm a facial plastic surgeon. I spend at least half my day, usually in the operating room, performing facelifts. And the other half, I'm treating and using minimally invasive because that's really what is of interest to myself as a patient, as a person, what I want to have. I can't operate on myself, so that also is a reason. But we all want to be able to master and really offer both of these modalities when needed for our patients. And particularly because the interest has grown so much with the minimally invasive. As I say, I can, as a surgeon, can cut or tailor you a new suit, but it's still the same fabric. So the question is, how can we make that fabric be just as beautiful, glowing, and restored? And I'm sitting here with several of my co-investigators for a lot of the technology from BTL. And why does BTL turn its attention to fractional RF? Don't we have enough microneedling devices? We know, and Sherina alluded to it, and particularly in New York City, we have patients who are of all backgrounds and all different types of skin. And microneedling, and particularly fractional microneedling, has been one of our biggest and most versatile tools that we can use not only for the face, but we can use for the body, we can use for the neck, and we can use it in patients that aren't laser candidates. So we know that RF is incredibly important. We know that BTL has been a master of RF over their years of development. So why another microneedling device? Because we really want, here we go, we really want the microneedling to be as efficient and as painless for the patients as can be. and I do research with a number of different companies. I have experienced a number of different devices. We have many devices in our office. And I think all of us here sitting today can say, yes, we know RF microneedling does give good results, but there's a bit of a price, and it's the price that none of our patients really want to pay. We want gain, but without pain. And microneedling RF, and it's really come out more and more throughout social media, and here are a few quotes. These are not from my patients, this is from the internet. But patients who are complaining that even when they're using topical numbing, even when we're using, as we do in New York, we use a lot of nitrous oxide, they're still in pain. And the problem is that when patients are in pain and they're supposed to be doing a treatment, we all know microneedling RF, you usually do a series of 3, 1 month apart. But if it's so painful, they don't even want to come back for the treatment. And that's something we're seeing again and again on social media, evidenced by these 3 examples here, of patients just not happy with recovery and the downtime. And something I'd also want to point out is the pain. There is going to be 24 hours with microneedling. They're going to have 24 hours at least of redness. But also, when we have so much pain, we really, those C fibers go wild. And then we really have a tremendous amount of inflammation and histamine response. And so if we can devise a better machine, if we can have a better experience, it's going to be having our patient experience be better and having them coming back, and overall be a better experience for my staff delivering the treatment. Because, thank you for that quote, that we're kind and compassionate, so is my staff. Well, that's perfectly befitting, because none of us as practitioners, we don't want to be torturing our patients. We want them to get the results without suffering. And time is important too, besides the matter of suffering through a treatment. For microneedling right now, with RF, what are we doing? We're having the patient come to the office, clean their skin, and then we have to put on local anesthetic. And that can vary anywhere from about another 20 to 40 minutes of waiting. And then we do the treatment. And we want, if that patient is uncomfortable, it's going to take a long time to get through that treatment. And then from the current machines that are on the market, we're generally doing several passes. So that can culminate in, maybe you anticipated it would be a 60-minute treatment, but it can easily turn into a 2-hour treatment. And that's time that's being spent taking up a room, torturing conceivably both patient and practitioner, and is really delaying precious and valuable office time. So how can we make it better? That was the charge when we did the original study a few years back. And like everything, BTL doesn't bring a machine to market unless we have enough clinical studies and experience. And at this point, we have over 14 studies, and before coming to market, just from our studies alone, had well over 1,000 treatments. And why is that so important? It's important because 1, we know the results that we're going to be getting. 2, you can know the results that you're going to be getting and the level of satisfaction. But also, those 1,200 treatments have gone into helping to learn and to compute what AI can learn and do to perform the procedure better. Using artificial intelligence, it could rapidly learn from all of the different treatments that have been prior performed, and then can customize and tailor based on your patients, their impedance, whatever resistance that they are giving, to make sure that every pass you're getting is unique and consistent for that patient. And they're adjusting to that treatment, that AI is adjusting to that treatment much faster than any of us can humanly compute. The machines, AI, can do better than we can, and can respond and make that performance better. Immediately, the AI can sense how the patient is doing, can sense the unique conditions of the patient, and can taper how that energy is being delivered. There's just energy over time in a less painful procedure, and also, so you can effectively be doing this in just a single pass. And we have seen the patients, particularly with my patients, we've seen over a 98% satisfaction and 82% comfort. And I have to tell you, for the initial study, I did a lot of those treatments, and as a surgeon, I was not backing down. So we were using a high level of energy, and the patients were still able to be comfortable without numbing. And this is not just a procedure that we can use on the face and neck, but this is also something that we can be using on the body as well. And so how are we achieving a painless result on the body? We're doing this because the needle is penetrating in. The depth, particularly for body, could go down to 4 millimeters. Then you can activate an extended mode. Again, the intelligence of designing this feature, of designing everything about this device. When you go down to that deeper level with the needle, besides that we're altering and we're every millisecond feeding back to the AI, we're bypassing the superficial skin pain receptors, which we know are at the surface. So with that extended mode, we are then able to penetrate even farther deeper. The thermal gradient will extend deeper. And using that, we are able to, even with a 4 millimeter needle, be able to get to a depth of 8 millimeter without causing issue of heat in the more superficial layers of the skin. And so when we bypass those pain receptors, we are, one, making it more tolerable, but also we are noticing, and I think that my panel will agree with me, a much decreased histamine response. So you'll have a nice erythema, you'll know where you treated, but you're not getting that really inflammatory response that patients are kind of wondering, why on earth am I so incredibly swollen? So in my practice, Exion has been, particularly the RF fractional handpiece, has been a tremendous improvement. My staff love it. My staff are incredibly happy, and that's their go-to device when they want to deliver an effective fractional RF comfortable experience, but also for client retention. The patients are coming back for their treatment, and not only are they coming back, I have Exion, okay, that was comfortable. I'm going to do my second. I'll do my third treatment, and they're excited about getting the results and seeing those results. But for patients who have, with other fractional RF devices that I have had in my clinic, those patients who haven't completed those treatments, and ask yourselves, I bet you have those patients, gee, I wonder what happened, how come they didn't finish? They are switching over and using Exion because they feel comfortable and they want to get the results. So in one of the original studies, in my clinic itself, we had 34 patients, 30 women and 4 men. It was a single pass of RF treatments done, and that was another point. We're doing them 7 to 14 days apart so we can get those treatments in faster. And we evaluated them on the aesthetic scale and also followed patients for a minimum of 3 months. And as you can see here, we have really great results. Just with that single pass, we can see a 41% improvement in the acne scars. This is a patient who really suffered for acne for many years. And the vast majority of the patients found the treatment comfortable. And then here, I particularly like this patient because, as you can see, he has a scar on his right cheek. After his treatments, the scar is, I hate to say the word, but disappeared. And I particularly love this patient as well because we're really treating all skin types and all genders. So this is a device that can be used for everyone, and everyone is tolerating it. Men, women, everyone. And with that introduction, I hand off to the wonderful Dr. Diane Duncan.
And Dr. Duncan comes from Fort Collins, Colorado, plastic surgeon and also a sister from another mister, because I love Dr. Duncan. She's one of, honestly, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but next to my mom, you're probably one of the most inspirational women I know, authentically.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's amazing to have her here to share, and I'll share some of her patient comments and reviews. She radiates kindness, competence, and experience. Exceptional. Her work is transformative. I think that hits the nail on the head, transformative work.
Thank you. Yep, JD and I do have a special bond, as do Yael and I. Hopefully someday with Sherina. Can I have the clicker? So as JD knows, I've been around for a while, and I was lucky enough to get started in the energy-based device world kind of a long time ago. So in 2009, when radiofrequency microneedling just kind of was first getting started, I had a device that was bipolar and had a fixed needle length and was, as Yael was noting, incredibly painful. My patients would get up in the middle of this treatment. Doesn't matter how good the results are, but they would basically pretty much run away. And this was before we had even good topical numbing, but I had this device, sat in the corner, gathering dust, because none of my patients really wanted to have it done. I could do it under general anesthesia. I do plastic surgery as well, but nobody would really want to tolerate under local. So history of RF microneedling, it used to be an ancient Chinese treatment and kind of went away and didn't come around again until the early 1900s, when a gentleman named Cromeyer used dental drills for scar treatment, and he basically would sand or burr, dermabrate these scars down in order to get rid of thickened scars. Fernandez in 1995 used a handheld syringe with a single needle, plunging it in over and over at different spots, kind of a mesotherapeutic device, but with no injection. And then he made a stamp of needles from which we got our first non-thermal microneedling device. And then, of course, the rest is history. In 2009, it was the first iteration of the Intracell, which was then improved in 2011, and the first Fractura device was in 2009. And this was one of the things that people were thinking is this was going to be a fractional energy-based device rather than fully ablative, like laser, with less recovery time. And other early devices included the Profound and the EndyMed. Currently now there are 20 to 22 radiofrequency microneedling devices that are available. If you look at this picture, you can see this is one of the older microneedling devices that has a little bit of a depression, a pretty significant amount of char around the single needle entrance, and this level of injury is going to take a while to heal. So I know Sherina mentioned that RF is colorblind, but given enough power, it cannot be. So this was a Latina patient of mine who had a treatment with a different device, and you can see that she got really profound microneedling post-PIH in the central picture, and it didn't really go away. Even 6 weeks later, she still had this stain. Now we know that PIH eventually will all go away, but most of our patients are pretty unhappy with this temporary deformity. We don't want to have that happen. So how do you optimize your RF microneedling outcomes? I think, to me, the BTL difference is that each single needle reads the impedance of tissue, and both of my colleagues have mentioned the AI, but not that each single needle reads the impedance. So it's not just the handpiece, but it adjusts for microenvironments, such as areas that don't have a lot of, don't have a lot of moisture, areas that are a little more moist, and the moisture is, and the resistance, of course, are two of the determinants of your AI and your impedance. Also, I tend to not use a lot of energy. We had this conversation yesterday. I tend to use about 40% energy because I want to biostimulate. I don't really want to ablate. And I think if you look at a spectrum of scar tissue, collagen induction, collagen, it's kind of could either be scarring, fibrosis, or the other end of the spectrum is biostimulation. Of course, you want to use enough energy to generate a response, but you don't really want to cook the skin. So I feel like in this particular case, the AI is smarter than the human operator. What about the controversy between high power and biostimulation? There's a current device out there that claims they're better than BTL because they deliver more power. And if it's not directed and it doesn't generate a good result, it doesn't matter if it's more or less. And you can turn it up and create char, which the patients won't thank you for. So that's not, to me, a really wise selling point. Will the patients tolerate the treatment discomfort? And Yael made this point more than once, and I would agree, let's make it 15 times, because if the patients experience pain, they have negative feedback, they have negative feelings about you. We don't want to generate any bad reviews. We want only happy patients with good outcome. So to me, this device is meaningful and valuable because you get precise energy delivery with low power, yet high energy, which creates not a lot of pain, happy patient, and not a lot of downtime. And this is something that I would really like to make a point of. My patients, I did recently completed an Exion and IMCAS combined study. My patients had maximum an hour and a half of downtime. So they could go back to the office, they could go out to lunch after RF microneedling without a bloody, charred, damaged face, and could resume their day. So this is kind of what my patients want. In fact, they'll pay a little bit of extra in order to have a great result with no temporary deformity. And to me, the treatment outcome makes the choice of which RF microneedling device you buy clear. Because I could not get this level of an outcome with any of the other RF microneedling devices that I've ever had, and I've had 7. So if you want something that will deliver not only improvement of acne scars, and we measured this using a Beaconsfield Primos that looks at a topographic map and a linear waveform analysis. But I think the picture tells a story. This is a person who was very self-conscious about her appearance and now doesn't have to wear makeup, no cover-up, because it's not only gotten rid of the acne scars, but the red and brown pigment as well. So I haven't seen, and I've looked in PubMed on several occasions, a study that published that shows more power equals better results. I think it's the stimulation of the skin and the AI, as well as the extended mode. I love the extended mode, and I use, this is another discussion that we had the other day. I use the extended mode on all skin types at a very low power, because I find that if you have an extension of the energy all the way through the skin, you only do need to use one pass. So contrast, the patient on your left was treated with an older, very high power device. I think she got a good result because I also did a fat grafting treatment, but honestly, other than having paler skin because she hasn't been out in the sun, she still has a fair amount of erythema, and she still has a fair amount of pigment. The patient on the right is a 75-year-old who's been my patient for about 20 years. I did a nice facelift on her. That doesn't really matter because her acne scarring was still the focus of what she saw in the mirror every day. And her results 3 months after final treatment, I think that's as flawless as her skin has ever been in her life. So, now back to Sherina.
Yeah, we'll have Sherina share some insights on the small applicator, the face applicator on the Exion, which I do want to mention just briefly to differentiate too. This is a monopolar device, because I don't think we've actually mentioned that yet. And so the way we're getting this extended mode is because the AI is being able to measure the impedance because of having a grounding pad, which is actually a great advantage. It also changes the way that the energy can be delivered to a different depth.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Dr. McCoy. So yeah, following on from my colleagues, I think we can all agree that we're really looking at hyper-personalization to how we approach our patients. We can choose different handpieces, we can tailor it to different types of insulated versus non-insulated needles, and we're really looking at the refinement of the skin, looking at texture and tone. So I really now want to focus on the next applicator, which is called the Exion Face Applicator, which is a 100% needle-free, 100% pain-free, scar-free methodology of bulk volumizing, bulk heating the skin. And this is really, really critical because what we're aiming to do here is to restore lifting, to give our patients a tighter, also more hydrated appearance to the skin. So I've had previous RF experience ranging from 2010 as well. And as my colleagues have reiterated, they used to be a little bit more uncomfortable because these were what we call first generation devices. And our supplier colleagues, they learn from that. They evolve in the refinement of their technology. And what we're seeing right now is top of the game. Previous devices used to work really, really well. And they pretty much targeted one thing, which is the collagen protein in our skin. And we've all been targeting collagen for years with a number of treatments. We know when we stimulate collagen, it grows and it tightens, it spirals, and we get a lifting and contouring and tightening of the skin. We know that. But there are a number of other things in the skin that we need to address. The next is the elastin fiber, which is another protein in the skin. And we've never been able to stimulate that to a high level. So that gives us our elasticity, our stretchiness in the skin. And then finally, there's nothing that's ever been created using technology, using device, that can harness and unlock the body's own potential to rebuild your own hyaluronic acid up until now. So this device that I've invested in is really to take my results and my patient's results to the next level to wake up his body's own potential. How can they do this? Because you're not looking at just one unique technology, which is monopolar radiofrequency, which is what Dr. McCoy said. You have a grounding pad at the back, you apply gel onto the patient, so you're not needing to apply numbing cream or anything. And then you're using this fine applicator and you're moving it around the patient's face, from their neck to their cheeks, to their jawline, to their eyes, to their foreheads, and you can also treat around the lip and the perioral area. And there's so many videos on the BTL website, on their social media to show fantastic results that we can get very quickly and very consistently after just minutes. But there's something else that's going on with this technology. We're not just looking at the monopolar radiofrequency, which is targeting the collagen in the deep dermis. We're looking at deep volumetric heating. It feels like a hot stone massage is what I call it. I love having it done. I had it before I came here together with templates because I wanted to look and feel good in front of you. But more importantly, they're synergizing and blending a targeted ultrasound. So what you have now is two technologies. You have your radiofrequency and you have your targeted ultrasound blended beautifully, seamlessly. And this drives not just a thermal effect on the fibroblast. You're really getting the targeted ultrasound going deep into the reticular dermis, deep into the dermis where your fibroblast cell is. And it's creating a mechanical effect, not just a thermal effect. You're getting a mechanical effect. That's waking up the fibroblast and saying, do something else. And this is why we're getting an upregulation of elastin and hyaluronic acid for the very first time. So what is hyaluronic acid? We know what it is. It's a sugar in your skin, abundant from the day we are born. And we've always been learned or taught that we lose 1% hyaluronic acid beyond the age of about 25 to 35. Well, guess what? Look at the graph. It actually happens a lot sooner than that. So if we're thinking of regenerative medicine beyond aesthetics, we should be really thinking of how we can harness the body's own potential to keep and bank and store our body's own HA from a lot younger. And we can do this autologously using devices now. Well, why do we need hyaluronic acid? We're applying it synthetically on the skin, using topicals and all sorts of other things. But we need hyaluronic acid to do beyond just looking good, beyond just getting a glow. All our patients want that. They want to look more hydrated. We also need critical hyaluronic acid so that it captures and captivates more water into the skin. When we get more water into the skin, we get more inter and intracellular hydration. So whatever injury that RF needling or lasers or other ablative treatments that you do give, or maybe even patients just going through natural inflammaging in their lifestyles, we're able to renew, we're able to heal better, and to develop more resilience in the skin. So I want you to think beyond the treatments that we're doing. We actually need more HA younger, and we need more hydration in the skin in order to get better quality of life for our lifespans. So HA solutions today, how can we get HA? Everybody here is pretty much using a hyaluronic acid serum or a topical as an injector. We're also injecting it on the skin with skin boosters. We're also restoring volume using HA fillers, either deep or medium depth or superficially. The injectors are all nodding. So that has been the way to get HA under the skin. Or we apply it topically with other topicals that we've seen in our industry, and we can microneedle it in. Well, guess what? We don't have to do that now. We can actually apply an external device that's never been done before, using Exion face applicator in order to do that. So this summarizes exactly what I've been talking about. Beyond just being an RF device, this has got the simultaneous delivery of the targeted ultrasound. So for me, this is what makes it unique, because I've also had EndyMed before. I don't have your legacy of 7 devices yet, but what I really wanted to do was refine what I already had. So I loved my other devices, and I still do. But what I want to do is really just step into a new paradigm of my practice and deliver something a little bit more that the body can wake up in. So what are we seeing a few months down the line? We're seeing an upregulation. We're not also putting things on, we're upregulating HA using these simultaneous technologies, and we're getting these types of results, increase and upregulation of collagen, and a really big increase in elastin production, and then this massive increase in your body's own self-production of HA. So I already know from the legacy of BTL that they invest in clinical data using and harnessing these fabulous investigators up here. And this is what we're seeing using biopsy studies. We're seeing an upregulation of collagen, type 1, type 3, and those are going to go through its beautifully done inflammatory phase with no downtime. It's going to go into its proliferative phase, and then it's going to lay down these fibers, and they're going to mature. So when they spiral and contract, our patients see their results optimally at about 3 to 6 months' time, and they keep getting better. This is the beauty about this technology, because you're not stopping there. You're really creating your own HA, and that's getting the results better over time. So these are some of my results, and I started early. So these are just after 2 treatments in a 49-year-old patient. So you can see the brows are lifted because we're now able to treat the forehead, and I've never been able to treat the forehead before with my previous applicators. We can target around the peri-orbital area if somebody wants to keep their budgets, and I don't like that word, but to keep their their investments tight. And we can also treat the full face area. So this is one of my newest patients who's been into my practice. She looks tighter, she looks more attached, she looks more refreshed, she doesn't look so tired, and she's absolutely delighted with her skin appearance. So I use the Canfield Vector 3D system in order to analyze all my results, because I want to show patients their results, because that keeps them excited, it keeps them celebrated in their results, and more importantly, it keeps them coming back into the clinic. So when we've studied these technologies, what have we found? We found that they can actually tighten the skin, they can give you volumetric changes, they can lift the skin in an upwards and more lateral position, because that's exactly what our patients want. We don't want to take away any of their beauty, we just want to give them some 1% marginal gains that they're going to slowly enjoy and benefit time and time again. So when we measured these, and these results are actually only just after the 4th treatment, so they're still light, but I just want you to maybe jump on my Instagram page at Ms. Balaratnam, because I've just shared the 3-month pictures just yesterday, and they're looking so much better, and she's absolutely over the moon. So on that note, it fits beautifully alongside all of my treatments, my technologies, my injectables, because I'm restoring volume from a foundation contour. We're able to tighten and refine the skin now using a combination of the HA phase together with the RF microneedling. I'm really excited to hand over back to Dr. Yael again.
Thank you. And I can echo the excitement and enthusiasm for my patients and my practitioners in my office for the face applicator. And we can use the same technology to address body as well. And what we see is, again, you're able to target in 2 ways, and in a way that's a little bit different than the face applicator, because what we do want to do now is we want to be able to go after some of those localized fat deposits. And having worked on the research sites for MSculpt, the MSculpt Neo, we have wonderful technologies to engage muscle and the RF combined to deal with fat. But here with the body applicator, there are a few stubborn locations that we can really address and target, again, in a comfortable way that feels just like a hot stone massage. And what we're seeing is an 85% improvement in skin laxity and a 22% localized fat reduction. So you can imagine how that alone is going to be very effective in helping patients. But indeed, dealing with skin laxity of the body is really a problematic issue. Many patients don't want to go through the surgical options for that, and do want to either isolate it alone, deal with the skin laxity, or deal with that in combination with fat reduction at the same time. And how we're doing this again is with this patented technology using the monopolar RF, and here's where monopolar RF really can shine, because we are able to deliver that energy, and the energy is going, as I always like to compare it to, is what we're treating with energy. We're basically zapping somebody. It's our lightning bolt that's going through to the patient. And if we want to be effective and really get effective at doing that, because it can really travel the distance in a very uniform way. Whereas when we're using monopolar, we have to go in and we have to go back out, because we have our two poles. So here, and you can see it, which I really love to do, and I think all of us who are very research-oriented can shock it and wake it up. And so here we're doing this again, like everything that I've come to love with working with BTL, in a very thoughtful, scientific way. So you're actually able to watch and see how effectively you're heating while you're doing the treatment. And you have that monopolar RF, and again, the targeted ultrasound. And like I was discussing with the RF fractional microneedling, you have an extended cooling mode so that you can have a powerful active cooling on the surface of the skin and then be able to penetrate deeper. And what are some of the areas that you can treat? These are some of the areas that we love to do, particularly for women, the bra roll, the bra fat, and any of those little tiny pocketed areas that we maybe can't reach with some of our other devices, but we really love to use in conjunction. And here are just some of the results that you can see. You absolutely, this is really just only after 2 sessions of the abs, and 4 sessions on the back, you can see so much better improvement, definition, and getting rid of that quote-unquote muffin top. And here again, areas that you would really want to reduce, and you're doing that just with the Exion. This is not using the edge applicators from the Neo, which is also, I think, fantastic. And we're often using these devices in combination together. And now,
we'll efficiently go through with the last applicator, which is the MFEM component.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to summarize what all these applicators do in one nutshell. They work. They work because they deliver results, and you can see they're not just independent of each other. They're in combination with multiple different technologies and energies out there. So they've been harnessed, they've been put together, and now we can also apply it intravaginally. So this is fascinating because our patients are out there and they are troubled by issues down below. They may not verbalize it, they may not voice it, but I know many of my patients are coming to have Amsella for gynecological reasons. Weakened pelvic floors, genuine stress incontinence. I used to carry out an intravaginal CO2 laser back in 2012, and we know it works. But the issue with that, it comes with a little bit of discomfort. So now, using the understanding that we know today, we can use it intravaginally. Yes, it is a growing part of the market population, and it's estimated to keep growing and growing. But I think the key thing is our patients want transformative results. So what the MFEM 360 does, it is now integrated into a 4-in-1 platform. So this is very unique for me as a unique proposition because we can literally treat patients from head to toe. So that lowers my investment risk. I don't need to have a device standing in the corner. It's integrated. We just need to keep educating our patients at the potential of these devices so that they know how it can treat. The applicator is easy, and for me it's light. So when I've used it on my patients, I can literally get the whole treatment done intravaginally in 8 to 10 minutes. That is really fast. That is the fastest treatment that I've done to date using an RF platform. And because it's an intimate area, the patients are happy because they don't want to be in that position for too long. So it's the only 360 device technology I've ever used because the RF is entirely the whole way along the platform in the single-use applicator tip. So with the patients in position, you insert it, you turn it up gradually to get to a therapeutic temperature, and you just keep moving the applicator in and out. And it's fascinating because it was so different to what I used before. You can literally feel the tissue tightening using your hands. You can feel it tightening. And this is what we're getting, an increase in collagen and elastin. You can see an increase in hyaluronic acid, and this is my results that you can literally see, that they can literally feel, and they're certainly celebrating. And the beauty is you can also use it for external application. So this is my first patient. I'd like to thank her for sending me the before and after, and I'll finish with that very much. So I'd like to congratulate BTL on their fantastic new innovation and technology. Very honored to be able to learn from all of my esteemed speakers today as well.
Okay, so we only have a few minutes for panel discussion. I do want to start with Dr. David Goldberg, a dermatologist from New Jersey. And his patients have said, and these summarize Dr. Goldberg so perfectly, smart and knows exactly what he is talking about, cheerful, intelligent, and brisk, miracle worker. Pretty cool. And as far as the first question that I wanted to pose on the panel itself was if you could discuss the histology study you did with the small facial applicator and talking about what you saw as far as the HA stimulation.
So the first thing I have to do is congratulate this panel because they kept me quiet for almost an hour. As Dr. Halas knows, I practice in the New York metropolitan area as well, and I can't keep quiet for an hour. So before I get to that, I just want to make a perspective. I helped Dr. Benjamin Asher start this meeting 25 years ago when there were 50 people here instead of 18,000. And we also did some of the original Thermage trials, which is also almost 25 years ago. That was the original monopolar RF device. It hurt, it melted fat where we didn't want, and we see where we evolved into that. The fractional RF devices, the penetrating ones, really began around 2014-15 with needles that bent, that hurt. And I think one of the things that maybe didn't come out that artificial intelligence is, think about other devices. When we use, let's say, lasers for hair removal, looking for erythema and edema around the follicle. When we treat pigmented lesions with nanosecond, picosecond lasers, ashy color, we have no endpoint for these RF devices. So with this artificial intelligence, each needle has a measurement of the impedance. That really is what adds to the benefit of it, and it adds to the efficacy. So the study we did, we have all these RF devices that we know produce skin tightening. There are ultrasound devices that do the same. And for a bunch of years, I've been asking these companies why not combine them together, because they're not. And it's not so easy to do that. So BTL, much like they took RF and electromechanical stimulation, put together, they've done that as well. And so the question is, when you combine them all together, what happens to hyaluronic acid, the moisturizer you talked about? It's one of the GAGs, glycosaminoglycans. And so the study we did, and you don't need big studies when you do histology. So we had 3 people who were treated with both the RF and the ultrasound. 3 people just treated with the RF, and then the one poor soul that got a bogus treatment. And we took biopsies before and after the treatments, and then months later. And lo and behold, if you combine the RF, which is more superficial, and you get the ultrasound, which is deeper, you get 1.67 times the increase of HA as you get if you just simply do the radiofrequency alone. So you see the combined effect of both of them. No surprise, the poor soul that was treated with the bogus one got no improvement at all. So in a nutshell, that's what it is. You combine them both together, you get a better result clinically. And what does the HA do? It makes the skin look softer, smoother, younger, healthier, and that's what we want.
Beautiful summary. For me in my practice right now, the busiest device authentically is our Exion. It's going all day long, whether it's any of the 4 applications. Dr. Duncan, as far as the Exion in your practice, would you say that it's one of the workhorses right now?
Definitely, and the workhorses for me are a combination of M-Face and Exion. That's kind of my new gold standard, and it's pretty common for us to do. And I think our M-Sculpt and M-Cell are probably number 2. So all of my other devices that I used to have running are either gone or off my corner.
And Dr. Halas, how would you comment on that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think many people here in the audience know my enthusiasm for M-Face. And the whole concept, really, what we're talking about is it's rehabilitation for the aging process. We're doing physical therapy for the aging process. And we're seeing more and more people having concerns about putting foreign substances Is there going to be chronic swelling? What are we doing? And the concept that we can harness our body's own potential is an extremely powerful one. It really resonates, like, certainly with myself, with patients, with all of us, because that's what we want to do. We want us to use our body's potential to be in the best state moving forward. So Exion is incredibly diverse. I love using the small applicator. We use it in combination, love using it with the M-Face as well. I actually, for all of my facelift patients afterwards, will recommend using the Exion. We see that their swelling resolves faster. Plus, it's giving that additional bonus, whether I'm using lasering the patient at the same time as facelift or not. We add the Exion in because it's going to be giving an improvement to the skin and giving that hyaluronic acid, which really does make a difference when you have your own collagen, your own elastin, your own hyaluronic acid. So, I do truly love it.
And Dr. Sherina, you commented earlier as far as wanting to look at hydration of the skin and thinking about, are there certain things that you do in combination with the Exion to help that process?
Absolutely, Dr. McCoy. So I also use it in combination with M-Face pretty much all the time because they work cohesively well together. I love topical strategies as well. So I have a plant-derived topical skin system that I use can help autonomously make your own HA. And now I'm combining it with a technology that does exactly and having the RF needling, they're also healing even faster and speeding through the, call it bad inflammation, so that they're getting to the proliferative and the maturation phase a lot faster.
And Dr. Goldberg, do you have any pearls or any little tips related to the Exion that maybe nobody else has covered?
So if you look up, and this is exhibit of all, there are so many modular systems out there that have IPLs and some lasers attached to them, but you don't tend to see that with RF devices. So now there's a modular system that gives you this monopolar, face, off face, fractional radio frequency combined with ultrasound. There's nothing else like it.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. And everybody has an opportunity here because today, this being the global launch, we will be doing the ribbon cutting at noon, and we could all go down there right now because we might not have covered all your questions because we didn't have time to pose your questions, but we will all be at the BTL booth, which is right downstairs. So we'll go right down the escalator from here to level 2, and it's row P. But if you go down the escalator, and it's the first booth that you'll hit as you go a little bit further back, we'd like to welcome everybody to join us for that ribbon cutting, and it'll also be an opportunity to interact and ask some questions that maybe we didn't get to or we didn't cover today. We all have lots of different insights, and we'd be very happy to share that. And we're all excited that we were able to share our little pearls today with you. Cheers, and we'll see you soon down at the booth, BTL Row P.